the right side, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown! Six, going to the hoop, puts it up, puts it in! A fantastic play.
Welcome into Magnolia Fields. I'm Tanner Marler alongside, as always, Cody Blazak. This is the initial episode with a Mississippi State twist. We're going to be doing 2 shows a month, talking everything Mississippi State athletics. And Cody, we have got a banger of a first episode today.
A lot of Mississippi State sports, a couple of them starting up in like a day, and then in a couple more weeks, and then a couple more weeks after that. So, yeah, there's a lot to go over.
Absolutely. And today it's Mississippi State soccer, ranked 15th in the preseason top drawer poll, 18th in the preseason coaches poll. We have got head coach James Armstrong and Olympian Ilana Izquierdo with us in the studio today. I cannot wait. We're going to talk everything from the day-to-day life in the Olympics. We're going to talk preseason. We're going to talk the home opener, which will be August 15th against Baylor. By the time you're watching this, that game will have already aired, but some really, really good stuff, including Ilana Izquierdo's top 3 Mexican restaurants in Starkville.
Yeah, it's
that's the real list here.
Yeah, that's the thing we all cared about, and there are a lot of Mexican restaurants in Starkville, so it could be tough to narrow down.
It could be. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop in, bring Coach Armstrong and Ilana here into the Richard Schwartz Magnolia Fields studio.
Welcome to the Richard Schwartz and Associates Magnolia Field Studios. One call, that's all.
Welcome in to the opener for the Mississippi State side of Magnolia Fields. And Cody, I could not think of a more perfect first episode today. We have got Mississippi State soccer head coach, Coach James Armstrong, and Olympian Ilana Izquierdo with us today. Guys, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we'll just go ahead and dive straight on in. Coach, you guys have had arguably the most success out of any Mississippi State soccer kind of tenure in your time here. And really, when that kind of happens, it's all about sustaining that level, is it not?
That's definitely the challenge right now. You know, coming off 2 historic seasons. You know, round of 32 2 years ago. Everybody wondered if we could sustain that or hopefully go even better, which we managed to do last year with an incredible team. So now the level of expectation is probably at an all-time high. We're no surprise to anyone anymore. So managing the pressure of that is important. But we're blessed that we have an unbelievable group of young ladies, an incredible coaching staff and support staff. And so we feel really confident that we have, the makings of hopefully having an even better season this time around.
Yeah, and we call that an intro question. We've broken the ice now, but Ilana, we've got to get into really what I'm super excited to talk to you about today, Olympics. We have an Olympic athlete on the show with us today. That's got to be a first.
I think it is a first.
It has to be. Ilana, tell us a little bit just about, for the viewers, kind of what your role was with the Olympic team, just kind of a little bit about your experience, just top level.
Well, obviously, it was like an awesome experience. Getting to play with the national team and getting to represent your country is always like something to be proud of. But like at the big stage, at the Olympics, playing with the best like teams in the world, that's just like another level.
And, it's every kid's dream, I think, to win a championship and all of that. But very rarely, I think, does it occur, man, I would like to play in the Olympics. Like, that seems like a goal that's just so up here. And you got to achieve that. I mean, where does that kind of rank on your kind of in your head on list of achievements?
Well, to be honest, like I haven't realized what I've done like yet. I knew I was in the Olympics, but like right now I'm like, okay, what just happened? Like I don't really like know how does like it feels, because like it was like a mixture of different like feelings and emotions like what were there. But yeah, it was definitely something like a dream come true.
Absolutely. And the thing I've probably been most curious about, and obviously we've seen it all over TikTok, we've seen it all over social media, the living conditions while you're at the Olympics. Tell us a little, because every athlete's different about it. Tell us about kind of where you were at. Did you have air conditioning while you were there?
Well,
like,
I really don't want to like disappoint you with my answer, but we were in the village.
you weren't in the village. Well, but you still had. Did you guys have the cardboard beds or
No, we were in hotels.
You were.
Yeah,
you
we were
were.
pretty good.
You were chilling then.
Yeah.
You were
Like, I don't know if
chilling.
that's good or bad, because like I feel leaving or staying at the village is like living the entire experience. But yeah, like we were in like different conditions. We were just like from like one hotel to the other because we had to travel like to two different places.
Yeah.
But yeah, we couldn't like have the chance to go and see like other athletes or how the conditions were.
But as far as kind of, do you think you would have? Obviously, the village, like you said, is the whole experience. Do you feel like you were a little more comfortable in the hotels, or?
Probably. I wasn't at a village when we were in Bolivarian games in Colombia, and yeah, it was like not the best. I don't know, like the best setup, I would say. But yeah, I've heard a lot of things, like good things, bad things. Like the food was fried, the food was not good. I don't know. But yeah, like I cannot complain. We're in pretty good hotels. We're in pretty good beds. We had pretty good food. So
Well, I guess there are worse places to go. You know, it's not like we're headed out to Ackerman, Mississippi for these Olympics. You're at least getting to travel to some pretty cool places. So tell us a little bit kind of about that travel aspect of it. How packed was your schedule?
well, it was busy, but it was the same thing every day. We couldn't like go and just like visit like different places and just like on vacations or whatever. Like no, it was from the hotel to the training field hotel, stadium, hotel. That's it. So we were like pretty much doing the same thing every day. And like that also like made it, I would say, like enjoyable, but at the same time, like we knew we were there just for like the Olympic Games. You know,
it's a
we
business
weren't
trip.
on vacations. Like we were actually like doing our job.
Yeah.
And that's what, like pretty much what we were doing the entire time: film, practice, team dinners, team meetings.
And of course, again, there are worse offices out there to check in to work at. But like you said, obviously a business trip. But to get into this season, Coach, you guys are 15th in top drawer preseason poll, 18th in the coaches poll. Just talk a little bit about, like you said, you're not going to surprise anybody anymore. People know you're here. People know what you guys can produce. Do you feel as though that target gets a little bit bigger that's on you guys' back?
Oh, the target on our back's huge right now. And the girls know that expectation. The preseason rankings, it's nice to have the recognition by fellow coaches and people in the know of the game. But I know it's a cliche, but the only ranking that matters is the ranking at the end of the season. You know, so for us, it's very important that we talk about trusting the process. And the process is just making sure we control the controllables, which is being as prepared as we can and taking confidence from our preparation and just making sure that we improve day in, day out. And the attitude of the players right now and the personalities and positive attitudes in the locker room is unlike anything I've ever been a part of before, not just here, but prior to my time here. So when you have that and the camaraderie with the staff and the players, special things can happen. But like every sport, the bounce of the ball is important. Refereeing decisions are important. Staying healthy is important. So we're just going to go into it. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to give it our very best to just trust the process and focus on every day getting better.
You talked about earlier sustaining the success from the previous couple of seasons. Depending on which game you look at in the postseason, either Stanford or Brown last year, you have 9 or 10 returning starters. How does that help with sustaining that success? I mean, it's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, the beauty of it is that a lot of our players have been there and done it, right? They understand that there's going to be adversity in the season. You know, when we made the round of 32, that was the year that we went through the most adversity ever, right? And then we improved our squad by bringing in, you know, some really quality players from the transfer portal and some good freshmen. So now we go into last year and, you know, there were games like the Miami game. We were 40 seconds away from tying that game. I think 8 minutes away from losing that game. You know, ULM, we had to save a penalty on senior day, and Maggie Wadsworth had to produce a moment of magic to win that one 1-0. So when we talked to the team about never being too high, never being too low, and understanding the importance of every game, we've got players, senior players in the locker room that can say to the younger players, right? We've got 10 brand new players. Hey, that's not just coach talk. That's for real. And we are able to have a player-driven culture. So we trust the likes of Ilana and Macy Hodge and Maddie Anderson, et cetera, to help navigate through those tricky waters that are bound to happen at some point this season.
And you kind of touched on something I want to ask Ilana about when it comes to Starkville, Mississippi, where this great studio is at, where we're at. The first thing that comes to mind is never international athletes taking an interest in Starkville, Mississippi, of all places. I feel like it's easier a lot of times, Coach, to convince kids, hey, you want to come out to LA and play soccer, New York, Chicago, places like that. But when you're recruiting these athletes and you're in the transfer portal and everything, how are you essentially pitching Mississippi State and Starkville?
So with Ilana, we were lucky that she was already in Mississippi. She played at Southern Miss before, so she was familiar with the climate and culture, etc. You know, Ruthie Marthurin, Nini, as we call her, she was in Louisiana, right? So I would somewhat of a similar culture. You know, but Aitana Martinez Montoya, she was in New York, right? So it definitely took some adjusting, but for us, we were fortunate that all of those players are looking for one thing, which is to improve at their craft. You know, do we have the resources? Do we have the coaching staff? Do we have the SEC, right? The platform? Those were the things that they were looking for. And academics, people might think I have to say this, but academics was very important. I would argue, and Ilana can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was just as big a piece for her as the soccer. The two had to go hand in hand. So yeah, it is difficult, but we're very confident in the product that we can deliver. You look at the number of Olympians, not just Ilana, but the number of Olympians from Mississippi State. We have everything that you need in order to maximize your potential as a student athlete. So we're blessed. And I would like to think that Ilana feels like she's grown since she's been here.
Definitely.
There we go.
Yeah.
And that move kind of from Hattiesburg to Starkville may not have been as huge, but the move to Hattiesburg and that entire process, tell us a little bit about adjusting to Mississippi.
Well, it was definitely like a big change. Not just like like coming from Colombia to like the US, but like culture wise, language wise. I was 18 when I came here the first time. So it was like a big of a change, but at the same time, I wanted to do this. Like, this was my dream. So I knew it was going to be hard, but like the fact that I really wanted to be here just like made it probably like easier, or just like more like I want to do this. So let's just like deal with it.
You're able to attack it from a much different angle then.
Yeah.
For sure. Where's the food better, Starkville or Hattiesburg?
Oh,
It's tough.
yeah,
It's
that's
tough.
a hard one. I would say Starkville.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
And a little difference, but yeah.
There we go. That
Well, if it's Starkville, where's your favorite place to eat at?
That's
Here?
another.
Yeah.
I like Mexican food, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Are we? Well, we've got no shortage there.
Yeah, no, we actually have a lot of options.
We've got no shortage there. Well, I think there was a Twitter poll, God knows how long ago, about the best Mexican restaurant in Starkville. What's your ranking? Let's rank these really quick, if we can do it really quick. Because
There's like 10 of them.
There's like 10. We're gonna leave some off, I'm sure.
Well,
What's the top three?
My go-to is Casa Bravo,
Okay, Casa Girl.
La Terraza. I think that one's pretty good, and Veracruz.
Veracruz. So no Uno Mas.
No, I've never been there actually.
I'm not
I'm not
an
saying
Uno
you're,
Mas.
I'm not your, I don't really think you're missing out on much.
I don't think you're missing out on much. I'm not an Uno Mas kind of guy. Well, there went that potential sponsorship. But
Let's say I'm staying out of it.
But now that we've got the important stuff out of the way, Cody's very interested to talk about kind of on this platform the style of soccer you guys, Coach Armstrong and the rest of the team, are bringing here to the SEC.
Well, him and I had the opportunity of talking yesterday or 2 days ago. I mean, you talked about culture and everything and where it's at now, and just what is it that y'all have done recently to help that culture, and then the players you bring in?
So the character of the players we bring in is the most important thing. You know, it only takes one person to upset the apple cart, you know, as we call it. So just making sure twofold. One, that the people that we bring in understand what it takes to be a Mississippi State soccer player, but also the people that have already been in that locker room know to embrace that person for who they are, help guide them, and are the parts of those new people that can enhance the culture that we already have. So being open-minded, but at the same time, the standard is the standard. This year, we worked with an outside company, and the girls loved it. We had a person come in a few times to talk about people's different voices, right? Everybody has one of 5 voices as their dominant voice, but then you can have a secondary voice. So what that allowed the team to do is understand how each person likes to communicate and where they're coming from, and then obviously vice versa, right? So that made people understand that one person can be on this end of the spectrum and the person could be on completely the opposite. So now how do those two communicate effectively together and understand the message, not necessarily the tone? So I think that speaking to the players, that's had a massive positive influence in enhancing the culture, because it's a highly competitive environment and everybody wants to win, and tensions can get high, and some people are super confident, some people get nervous. So if we all collectively understand what each person is coming from and how to maximize their potential, then that's obviously the perfect scenario in terms of enhancing culture.
It's kind of to follow up. I grew up playing soccer, and it's a verbal sport, but there's also nonverbal cues and everything. How does that help? Because I don't know why, but there's something that my coach always told me that stuck out is when you're making a pass or a play, you don't always got to see the player, but if you know their cleats or something, you know where to go or where to put the ball. How does that communication with anything as far as body language or just communicating help on the field as well?
Absolutely. I mean, in an ideal world, you have both, right? You have verbal communication, and then you have the visual cues as to what to do, what each person ahead of the game is going to do for you. So when you can get the two together, that's when you got the perfect fit. So we stress that we want to be the loudest team on the field, but also want to have positive body language and make sure that we call it scanning the field as often as possible. And this young lady here is the prime example of both of those. So that's how I would answer that question.
And then one last thing, sticking to culture, what is it like to have so many older players, veterans, and Maddie Anderson, Macy Hodge, Ilana, that just keep that winning culture here, but also for the younger ones coming in to continue to grow that culture?
It's great having experience, but it can also be a challenge, right? Because you do sometimes get players going into their final year that become a little bit more about themselves, thinking about, okay, well, this is my last doing this. This is my last doing that. And so it becomes about them. And then they're thinking, what am I going to do once the season finishes? Who am I going to go and play pro for? Or who am I going to get a job for? So they can sometimes lose focus of the team and the mission of that team. We are incredibly fortunate that we don't have that issue. You know, all the players, we've got, I think, 12 that are graduating this time around. So everybody knows the Ilanas, the Macy's, the Maddies, but you've got Alexis Gutierrez, Riley Combs, like people that have been here for a long, long time that have invested a lot in this jersey. And as a group together, they're doing an incredible job of staying mission focused, team mission focused, I should say. And then not only that, but leaving a legacy whereby when they leave, there isn't a void. You know, we've got younger players that might not be getting the playtime that they probably want because of the experience ahead of them in that position. But now those older players are saying, hey, you know, like, this is what I'm doing. This is what you need to be doing, and helping them on and off the field. So that's perfect for us.
And, you know, now we've got about, give or take, 5 minutes left here. I've got a schedule pulled up here, and this is to both of you guys. Opening the season at home against a really good Baylor team. A lot of schools will kind of go out and pick maybe a smaller school to host that first game with. You guys have not. Ilana, first you and then the coach. Talk a little bit about kind of the preparation going into this pretty big matchup, a Power 5 matchup, as the home opener.
Well, it's obviously exciting to play at home, to play in front of our fans. As you just said, like, we don't think like we want to play like easy soccer, because like we actually know we can go for like big things. We definitely want to go and win the SEC. We definitely want to go and win the nationals. So we know we have to prepare for that. We definitely have worked on so much like things during the summer, either with the coaches or without the coaches, and I think we're like prepared for this game. Obviously, it's a good start. It's a hard start, but that's what we want. We want to challenge ourselves. We want to test like our game. We want to test our tactics and see like what's working and what we have to improve on. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty good game.
And Coach, what's it like from your perspective, kind of the top down, just getting ready to get everything ramped back up against a really good team like Baylor?
Can't wait. You know, the crazy part is the soccer season is like 3 to 4 months long, right? So you got a lot of months that you're waiting to get back into the swing of things. So we had a great spring. The girls did a great job without us in the summer. Preseason's been going really, really well because the girls took care of what they needed to in the off season. So, you know, opening up against a really quality Power 5 team like Baylor, and there's a reason for that. We wanted to play as tough a schedule as we can to prepare us, like Ilana said, for SEC play, because obviously that's a juggernaut right there in itself. The first game of the season is always tough because you have no film. You don't know really what to expect, but that goes both ways. You know, so for us, we focused a lot on ourselves and making sure we're the best version of what we can be at this moment in time, and learning lots of valuable lessons as we go through, you know, the last couple of weeks. But to play in front of our home fans is a dream. You know, they make such a difference. They are such a loud, in a positive way, loud crowd that really get behind the team, and such a diverse group. You know, you've got your student body, you've got your Greek life, you've got the faculty and staff, you've got the local community. So we are really optimistic that we'll have a great crowd, and optimistic as well that they will see a really good product on the field tomorrow.
Awesome.
Tough way to start the season, but obviously it prepares you for the SEC schedule, and there is no easy SEC schedule. It's tough around the board. What does it do when it prepares you for, because I mean, you open the season SEC play with Oklahoma and Texas. That's not an easy task.
No, obviously Oklahoma's first ever SEC soccer game as well. So
Yeah.
I am positive there will be a very large crowd. Hopefully we can replicate that when we welcome Texas to our home opener, you know, that following Sunday. But yeah, there is absolutely no easy game in the SEC. It is competitive. You have to be at your very best every single game. You have to get a little bit of luck here and there as well. So, you know, that's the reason why the likes of Ilana and myself are here. You know, we want to put ourselves on the best soccer platform to test ourselves every single day. And, you know, the more that we can do that in non-conference, the more that it doesn't become a surprise when the inevitable happens when SEC play kicks off. So, you know, we actually compartmentalize our season. We focus on non-conference first, and then we set new goals once we get to that time of year where we welcome the SEC teams. So,
Well, first of all, I want to thank both of you guys for your time today. This has been absolutely fantastic, and I, again, could not think of a better first episode for our kind of Mississippi State segment here on Magnolia Fields. Coach James Armstrong, Ilana Izquierdo. Thank you guys again so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and best of luck in the home opener.
Thank you, in Hail State.
Thank you.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
A huge thank you to Richard Schwartz and Associates, great sponsors here of the Magnolia Fields studio. And again, a huge thanks to Coach James Armstrong and Ilana Izquierdo for joining us today.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Nice insight. We had an Olympian.
We had an Olympian. That's a first. That's starting off strong.
We had a lot of episodes to try and top it. It's not going to be easy.
We can think of something.
Yeah, you want to get Michael Phelps?
We could. I'll send an email.
Okay, we'll see if we can get him.
We'll see if I get a response to that. But as always, thank you all for joining. Next Mississippi State episode, we have got Bulldog football. It's time, Cody. We're going to be diving into all of our preseason thoughts and our record predictions for Mississippi State football in head coach Jeff Levy's first year at the helm. So stick around. We'll have that on the next episode of Magnolia Fields. I'm Tanner Marlar. He's Cody Blazak, signing off this time.